I am down now since I do this every time I finish a game. I'm going to be doing this here now, reviewing the game fresh off the press. I just finished. Um, wow, this took me a lot longer than I thought it should have. That's insane. Um, so, what do I think of this game? So, I'm going to compare this to the first three because this is the last of the trilogy with Sonny Bonds. So the first one, you're just a street cop. You move towards detective. The second, it's the revenge of the Death Angel. Third one, obviously, it's his brother, which is actually a pretty. Thinking this is the late '80s, early '90s. This is actually pretty sweet. All things considered, it's an actual pretty in depth story. Obviously it has it shows the time, but um, yeah, it's a decent, like, the overarching arc. So they started something new with Police Quest. Well, technically it's not called Police Quest 4. It's called Police Quest Open Season, which basically it was the stop animation that they were starting to utilize. You can see that in Phantasmagoria, and other games as well. They did it for King's Quest. They did it for, and they started with Open Season. Similar idea, just a little bit. I guess the graphics are slightly better. They're still pixelated, but they're not as cartoony. I guess they have a more realistic feel to them. So it's completely separate. And then there's SWAT, which came after that. I think there's 3 or 4 SWAT games, which basically you're emulating being a SWAT member, and you have like 4 or 5 missions that you have to do in the proper order. That is pretty tough. I played SWAT 1, and that was pretty intense. Unless you have a walkthrough, that's pretty intense. So I'm going to compare the first three games. The first three games. So the first, if I would have to rate the three games, they all have their own faults. They all have technical issues. They all end up with dead ends. From the game design this perspective, they're not perfect. However, if I go according to the storyline, I would have to say one was the best, followed by three, and then followed by two. Two I didn't really care for much. It was anticlimactic, really, at the end. You found who the killer was, but it was kind of like, eh. This one was a little bit more involved. So from a story perspective, I think it falls in between one and two. So it's the second one in the list. It's not that they're bad games in they're story wise. It's not that they're bad games, but I think I like, and I also like one. I do like one because I do have a nostalgia side of that too. Um, I always had this love affair with Police Quest 1 for whatever reason. I just love the graphics of the first one. I know it sounds stupid. The graphics are horrible. They're garbage. But I just, there's something about that look of that game that I absolutely love. And I said this earlier when I started streaming this game a few times. You know, if you look at games that are trying to mimic um, no, the point and click genre. So Kathy Rain, for example, or Whispers of the Machine, which were created by Raw Fury. Um, their inspiration graphically is from the VGA version of Police Quest 1, or which was a remaster of the EGA version, or it's from Police Quest 3. It's the graphical, it's like that's the sweet spot, I guess people go for. Nobody ever does a game in, at least I think so, in the style of Police Quest 1. If they do a retro game, it's usually very reminiscent of Police Quest 3, in most cases, at least from my experience. I'm sure there's other games out there that have different influences, but in most cases, that's basically what it is. So from a graphical perspective, I loved it. From a Sound perspective, it's okay. I guess it's you have to take it from what it was back then. I think this game was on diskette back then. It wasn't on CD. Open Season was on CD-ROM, but um, Police Quest 3 I think was on disc, so there was limited space. Sounds couldn't be, but at least there's a little bit more sounds. Like you hear random typing as if you're in the office, even though there's no one typing at all. Um, there's a few things here and there. The soundtrack is okay, I guess. I like the interlude. The interludes. It's not as prominent as the second one. The second one, Police Quest 2, The Vengeance. Most of the soundtrack is when you're driving from one location to the other, which you're not actually driving. It's just a really long interlude for whatever reason. It's insane. So from that perspective, I liked it quite a bit. I think it was good, and it was okay. I mean, it wasn't like spectacular, jaw-dropping soundtrack. It's not like a Deus Ex or from what I've heard, System Shock. It is what it is. It's a point-and-click game. Although I would have to say that Kathy Rain had a really good voice acting, and the sounds in that game were actually really good. So I guess it's an advance. Technology has advanced, and that's how it is. So that's good. From a So we went through the graphics, went through sounds, went through storyline. In terms of the series, I think this is when the series started going down for me. Um, I played when I was a kid 1 and 2. Then I skipped 3. I played open season. No, sorry. I played 1. I skipped 2 and 3. I played open season. Then I had SWAT and I tried SWAT and it was atrociously bad. Well, I played it horribly. It's not a bad game, but I just played it horribly, and it's a lot more realistic looking. You actually have like actors and voice acting and stuff like that. It's a little bit it's dated. The acting, voice acting, you see it wasn't a profession back then. It was a little bit dated, but it does what it needs to do, and it's good. It's good anyways. So it is what it is. It's a product of its time, and you'll have to you have to deal with it if you want to play these games. You're gonna have to fight with the shortfalls of how the games were back then. So all in all, I think that this is a good. This was a good game. I like the storyline. And yeah, this is that's pretty much it. There's not much. It's not like you can go really more in depth like a Witcher 3 where there's like side quests and stuff like that. It's a very linear story, but that's what you came to expect. However, having said that, back in the day, and it's the same as Police Quest 1 or 2. If you didn't have the hint book, good luck, cuz you can get stuck in a place, and I kid you not, for a month or two because you don't know what you're doing, or you missed something, you have to go back. Like the dead ends that I hit, I got lucky because there's an actual Sierra help page that you can download save states at various points of the game, and mine was at a dead end and I couldn't get. I even if I don't know where I went wrong, so even if I loaded a previous save, I don't know if that would have worked or not. So I downloaded what I needed to download, and yeah, that's what it basically was. So um, it's a tough game. There's literally game breaking bugs in every game. Now I didn't have as many in 1. 2 had a few. Open season has definitely a lot of them. But this one, it has, and the thing is, it doesn't give you any hints really. You have to really like think, like take a random thought. So what you think would be a random thought is usually the solution, which is you would think, something would lead to something else, but it's really not easy. Like you guys just saw me play the last part of the game, right? And you get to the point where you're finding the remote, How the hell are you supposed to figure out that you're supposed to use the remote on the TV and use a specific number to open up a secret door? Think about that. Like, something like that could have, because I would have thought seriously that the end of the game was when I went into the house. Um, so like, having said that, like, it's not like it's an easy game by any stretch of the imagination. Yeah, if you know what you're doing, this game takes like maybe 5 6 hours max. Um, yeah, it takes about 5 6 hours if you know what you're doing. If you don't know what you're doing, it could take up to 3 months. And I've been there. I've literally Police Quest One took me took me and my brother because we got stuck. We got stuck at one point. Oh, I'd like to say a good 2 3 months, right? So it's really those games are fun to play now because you have like walkthroughs all over the place that tell you what to do when and where. But these games are not necessarily fun when you played them originally. Like, it was frustrating, really really frustrating. And I really would like to, you know, and that's why I kind of commend the newer games, point and click games that I found out recently, like Whispers of a Machine and Kathy Rain. They did these games properly. There was nothing that was very difficult to figure out. There was always something that led you to something else, and it made it easy for you to figure it out. Or it wasn't easy, but it made it like with a bit of trial and error, you were able to figure it out. Some of these games, everything is hidden. Like, you really have to like. I don't know how you were. I do not honestly know how you were supposed to figure out some of the clues in the game, and that's for any Police Quest game. And to your point, Space Quest as well is the same. It's a Sierra. It's the mark of Sierra. It makes me think of like a bit like Bethesda with their bugs. People think, oh, it's a feature, not a bug. Well, it's an actual, like, people like those bugs to a point. Um, that's basically what it is with Sierra. It's If you're somebody coming in cold playing Sierra games because you're just wanting to play Sierra games, it's gonna be a rude awakening because it's if you're used to the ways games are built today, which are pretty much they handhold you, um, pretty much. It's rare that there's a game that you get really really stuck. Usually, if I got stuck in a game, at least more recent games, if I get stuck in a game, it's my fault. Like, it's the issue is me. It's not the game design. In this case, I think the game design is, but then again, it was in its infancy. So, Police Quest One was the one of the first games that I remember playing that wasn't strictly text. There was an actual use. There was a UI to the text. Yeah, you had to type in the commands, but there was an actual UI to the game of the style of game. So obviously there's pitfalls, and I could forgive one, I can forgive two, but when you start going to 3 and 4, and I don't know about SWAT because I haven't really played SWAT much, but yeah, it's pretty intense. But yeah, I finally finished the Police Quest collection. It took me 9 months, and the reason for that, I played the first time months ago, like 9 months ago, um, and I didn't stream for a very long time because I had a kid, so the retro night in Canada kind of died for a while. Was on hiatus for a while, and then I picked it back up a few weeks ago, like a month ago, and I'm planning to play these games a little bit more. So I think it was Conquest for Camelot where I was stuck in the dungeon area. I was playing throughout the day and saw the sun come up the next day. To get out of the dungeon, I had to walk through a painting. Yeah, yeah, like I don't mind if something cryptic or is very secretive is a secret, and you figure it out, it's like an Easter egg or it's like a bonus. I don't mind that. I don't give a crap. But if it's part of the main game, yeah, that to me, it's you just it's a bad it's just bad game design at that point. Just to if it's challenge just for the point of giving you challenge, and there's no point to the challenge, and all it is it's frustrating. That's not good game design. To me, that's just lazy game design, and you're just putting frustrate something frustrating. If it's something that adds to the story and there's a point to it, then yeah, I understand, right? So it's entirely it's really it really yeah it's I'm gonna be playing Space Quest and because I'm a glutton for punishment. But yeah, I'm gonna be playing that for quite a while. So I'm hoping that that's gonna happen. But before then, I'm gonna be playing System Shock 2. So System Shock 2 will be my next retro game. I don't know how long the game is. I'm assuming it's similar to Deus Ex, so it's about 40 hours. If you're somewhat paying attention, you're not just doing the storyline, you're doing a bit more. So I'm going to be playing that. I'm hoping that it's not going to bug on me. I tried it this week and it worked. So I'm trying to see if I can do an actual playthrough of this well. Hopefully, if it works next time, I'm gonna try and see if I can stream tomorrow night. Maybe not, only because it's Valentine's Day. It depends what we decide to do tomorrow night. And it's also my wife's birthday on Monday, so we might be celebrating that as well. So we'll see how that goes. It just depends how because if she's just like tired and goes to bed, I'm gonna stream. If not, then I'm probably not gonna do anything. However, if this week I'm gonna be starting Gears 5 Hive Busters, which I keep thinking Game Busters, and I don't know why. The last time I tried to, for whatever reason, I don't know what happened. I downloaded it on my Series X, and I'm pretty sure that it downloaded fully. And then and when I got to come to play it, it just re-downloaded it again. So I don't know. I tried it recently, and it was still there. So I'm hoping it's still there. But if everything is good, I will be playing Gears 5 DLC. They call it the campaign expansion, which is weird. But I'm going to be playing that. The next story-driven game, like full game I'm going to be playing, I don't know what I'm going to be playing. I'm tempted for Cyberpunk, but I'm also scared because of all the issues they've had. So I don't know if I'm going to be playing that anytime soon. I was thinking Dragon Age, maybe playing some Dragon Age. I've never played anything of that. And since I have EA Play with Game Pass Ultimate, maybe I'm going to start playing. The thing is, I want to start playing Mass Effect, but they're coming out with the Legendary Edition, which is going to kind of be like a remaster. So I don't know. Should I wait for that, or should I play them the way they are right now? And if I do play Mass Effect, it would be like 1, 2, 3. I also could play Bioshock Infinite. I played 1 and 2 last year, or 2 years ago. And I could play that as well. I have Bioshock Infinite as well. And it would probably run smoother on my Series X. So we'll see how that goes. Yeah, I know. That's kind of the thing. So if I use the approach of the way I play these games, so when I played Police Quest 1, I didn't use the remastered VGA version, even though I have it with GOG. I played the original, and the reason for that is because I like to play the original. So, and it's free. Like with EA Play, they have it. They have it, and technically it's free to play. I won't be able to play the DLC, but who cares? I don't care. Um, so yeah, I'm planning on playing that. Yeah, there's some games that are worth like I just finished playing Mafia, the definitive edition. I never played the original Mafia on the original Xbox or PC. And my word, was that worth it. That is a gorgeous game. You can either find it on my YouTube channel or look at my collections or my past broadcast. I love the story. The remastered edition makes Lost Heaven looks so freaking good. Like it's spectacular. If you want to take a stab at it, just not to really see how the gameplay is, but I have a couple of clips from the game, and you can also where there's a few glitches, or you can look at one of my videos for like a minute or two and just see how it actually looks. They did a spectacular job with that game. I remember the only thing I remember from the original game is the buildings looked really. Yeah, I didn't expect that. Not to ruin anything for anyone, but I didn't expect that ending. To be honest, um, it's kind of sad too. I'm planning to write that review probably this week, um, and then I'll probably be. Yeah, you just think it's gonna be like hey, the guy made it, and it's like, oh, um, yeah. As a mobster game, yes, it's very linear. Yes, there's issues with the shooting in the game is atrociously bad. Especially when you're playing with a controller, it's not great at all. Um, but then again, it's third person. It's a little bit more difficult, but it's not super amazing. But the storyline is just fantastic. Actually, the storyline. Keep in mind, this came out like in 2002. The remaster is pretty much the same story. There's a few missions where they combine, but it reminded me a lot of The Irishman. A guy that was a guy. Technically, he was a family guy, but he was a guy that wasn't in the mafia. Started off out of nowhere, became part of the family, went up the ranks, um, and at the end, it's very. I didn't find it that difficult, to be honest. Once you learn how the mechanics of the driving works, it's actually not that bad. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't play the original, but it took me twice. So the first time I crashed way too many, but you have to run a perfect race though. You can't like crash at all. If you crash at all, you're kind of screwed. You could make it because there's 3 laps, but it makes it really difficult. You have to make sure that you slow down on your curves, and it does. It I'm it reminds it felt the thing. What I loved about the game is also the driving is a little bit more. It feels real. Like the car feels heavy, like the cars were heavy back then, and the driving feels that way, which I appreciate. It was really cool. A lot of people didn't like the driving initially. I think the remaster did a good job, but I don't know if they revamped anything of it. So yeah, maybe. Yes, the race is notoriously original. Now, I played on normal. I don't know if you play on harder difficulty if it changes, but so yeah. Um, Yeah, so that's my review, my mini review of Police Quest 3. This is going to go up on my YouTube channel as well. As well, I will be reviewing this in the coming weeks, so keep an eye out for that. And if you guys want to look at my reviews, you have it right down here, roundtable.ca. We review TV, music, movies, and video games. I do a lot of retro stuff. So the last movie that I reviewed was American Ninja and American Ninja 2. Video game wise, my last few reviews are Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Assassin's Creed Origins, because I think that's the only thing I played this year so far. So that's what I reviewed. Um, and if you guys like what you're seeing as well, you can actually subscribe to the monthly newsletter that we send out. And you can go to we're on Twitter, so a roundtable ARROUND OUNDTABLE, and then Corporate Gamer 9 for my gamer stuff, related stuff. I'm on Facebook. We're on Facebook as well, roundtable.ca, and we're also and Corporate Gamer is there as well. We have 2 separate pages. And yeah, we just review things that we like. Like a lot of stuff there's not a lot of new stuff in terms of music. But we do review new stuff for movies. I redo a lot of more retro stuff because I like to look back on a lot of stuff. So right now I'm looking at Jake and the Fat Man, um, which is an old '80s show. I also just bought the complete collection of Spencer for Hire, which aired in the '80s as well. Um, yeah, so I'm looking. I'm going to be doing that in the next few weeks. So keep that in mind, and I hope to see you again soon. If you guys like what you see, you can follow my channel, or you can follow me on Twitter. Subscribe on my YouTube as well. And if not, well, I hope that you have a wonderful week, and I'm glad that you're able to pass by. Thanks for passing by, Tagger. Thanks for passing by, Dino. Really, really appreciate it. You guys are awesome. Thank you, Dreamers Arcade, as well, for passing by and just saying hi. Thanks for the host as well. And hope to see you guys soon. So have a good one, guys. Ciao.